Welcome back to Thrifting Friday here at Rocky Mountain Gardens. And this is part of a collaboration that my friend Jaime over at Border Bananas, she hosts it every month. In case you're not familiar with Jaime, she has great channels, two of them as a matter of fact. And I'm going to have links to her channels down below, as well as a playlist with some other DIYers and flippers who have things to share with you as well. So in my video today, we actually are going to spend our time aging wood. Now, I have a collection that I have been thrifting for probably over a year. I've been gathering them together in order to do a large flip at one time and to give you several different ideas of how you can age these pieces so they look more antique, and also spruce them up to look happy for holidays and so on in your decor. Now, as you can see, I have a lot of rolling pins, and rolling pins are very easy to come by at thrift stores or garage sales. For example, I paid $1.99 for this one. This one here I paid $2.99 for, and they vary in price around that range. Oh my goodness, you guys, I picked up this oval shaped solid wooden bowl for, let's see, it was $3.99. I still have the tag on the bottom, and we're gonna age this, but this is what I look for, a solid piece, not one of those types of bowls that is kind of pieced together, glued together, and I just don't care for that look. And then I do have a bowl that has been mine for many years, and it is aged a little bit, as you can see, from holding food in it, but I want to age it more. And then we're gonna do some fun things with these rolling pins, let me tell you. So let's go ahead and get this project started. We will begin by making a food safe stain that can be used on any wood, and that is a coffee stain. And I do want to make sure that my bowls and my rolling pins and everything are food safe, just in case in the future I want to use them for that purpose. You know, serving food in or rolling out dough with one of my rolling pins. So in order to do that, I'm going to be very cautious about what I put on these pieces for a stain. Now, coffee stain can be made very easily. To me, the quickest way is using instant coffee. Now, I have this Folgers, and you can choose any container of instant coffee. If you're not an instant coffee drinker like me, I just wanted a small container because, you know, I'm not going to use it that often. I'm going to make very strong coffee in this small cup that is going to be my staining sort of holder. And I'm using boiling water from my teapot, and I'm filling up my cup about 2/3 of the way full. I don't think I'm going to need that much, but you know, because it does go a long way, but I'm just doing that to be, you know, err on the side of making sure I have enough for my projects. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a tablespoon, and I'm making a very strong instant coffee. This is not a science. You know, you don't have to measure carefully. I made my water boiled because I wanted the instant coffee to be able to dissolve very well and easily into the water. So you can see this is, let's see if I can show you over here. See how dark the coffee is? Of course, the darker the coffee, the darker the stain. And what's really wonderful about staining with coffee is it is sort of a gentle stain. You can put on one coat. If you don't like it or it's not rich and dark enough for you, you can add 2 or even 3 coats on your piece to get the look you are going for. So I'm stirring this up well, and then I'm going to set it aside and allow it to cool thoroughly before we start using it on our pieces that we're going to be aging. I am taking my coffee with a sponge applicator, and I'm just going to sort of slather this on. It is a very watery stain. You'll see here it kind of drips around on the piece you're working on. And just smooth it out. Take your time. Make sure that you get it completely covered, and then let it dry. And you can see I have some blocks of wood here to set my pins on so they dry evenly. And then I'm moving on here to my bowls and going on with the first coat, of course. And I'm not being stingy with my coffee stain. I'm just putting on as much as it takes to make sure it really covers. Some of your wood may be very, very dry, and so it does sort of soak up that stain quite a bit. So friends, I wanted to show you, here's my cutting board, and this is after 3 coats of the coffee stain, and I haven't done the back side yet. So you can see the difference in color. Here's the back side. Here's 3 coats of coffee stain. It really does work and gives you that food safe option. I'm inserting quickly a calligraphied piece of Stille Nacht that a good friend of mine gave me last year for Christmas. I couldn't find the right color of a mat board, so here I am just creating my own from a pre-cut mat board. Let me stop for just 1 minute to show you exactly the paints that I mixed. I used some of this folk art home decor chalk paint. The color is Irish. And to make it just a little bit darker, I used another color of folk art chalk paint, which is called Grotto. I just wanted to be a little bit less, I don't know, sort of neon looking, I guess. I will be letting this mat board dry overnight, and then we'll assemble it with the frame and my calligraphy of Stille Nacht, which means, of course, silent night. And I thought it would look really nice here with my carolers from the Simpage character dolls. Doesn't it look pretty? You may have seen cutting boards and other kitchen utensils with sort of a different greenish color. I'm trying to match it here by I used a couple of acrylic paints that I had. This one is called New Shamrock, and it's an apple barrel paint, which you can get at Walmart. And then I used an apple barrel color called Parakeet here. And lastly, I added some white home decor chalk paint by Folk Art to lighten it up just a bit. And I'm trying to match that green color that you often see in antique shops. And these 2 rolling pins, I'm going to be painting their handles this color. And I'm thinking it will probably take 2 coats. So we're going to go ahead and start with the first one on the handles on each of these. This really only takes a minute or 2 to accomplish. Our next step for preserving and aging our pieces that we've gotten from the thrift store includes, after 3 coats of coffee stain, using this wood and bamboo wood conditioner and protectorant. And this is food safe. I got it from Amazon. It is made by a company called Bayes, B-A-Y-E-S. And what I'm going to do, and I have learned this from my research, that coffee stain is not very, what do I want to say? It's not very stable. It will easily be washed off after use. So because I want this to be food safe for the future, I am planning to use this oil and be very careful, because what I learned is taking a brush and just brushing on the oil and with one coat is the best way to preserve your coffee stain. And guys, I want you to know that this is my choice. You know, you can use stains that would resist wearing away by use. But I have to tell you, one of the things I know from my own use of wood products is that the more you use them, the more they are exposed to food and cooking oils and things, the darker over time they get. So basically that's what I'm doing here with the coffee stain and the food safe oil, in a natural way, but speeding up the process so that these new looking pieces that I've gotten from Goodwill or other thrift stores can be aged and still used with your food in serving as a serving dish. For example, my favorite wooden bowl here is one that I often serve chips in. And you know, the oil from the chips and so on gets into the wood, soaks in, and darkens the color of the wood. So this is what I'm planning to do. I believe this oil is going to darken it as well. And this is my oldest looking rolling pin that I found. You can see it's beaten up here. And it has been used, and it darkened the most. I'm not sure if you can see a difference between these two. This one has been used much less, this one more, and you can see even the red paint is wearing off from use. But we're going to darken it a little bit more with oil and of course preserve the wood. I'm just going to put a bead of the oil onto my rolling pin and then very gently apply it and add a coating of this nice oil very gently with my paintbrush, spreading it so as not to ruin the coffee stain on it. And we'll let this sit overnight so that it can soak into the wood and do its job of protecting. On my wooden bowl, I will be doing the same, just squirting in some of this oil and very gently applying it, spreading it around into all areas of the bowl so it is covered completely. All right, friends, I have 2 more Thrifted rolling pins that I'm going to be decorating in a different way rather than aging them. I thought I would share with you this idea that I have seen on Pinterest, where you take some nice scrapbooking paper is what I'm actually using, and I have 2 different patterns. I'm going to be using them on these rolling pins to cover this main center of the pin. And we're going to be Mod Podging them with this matte finish product. I have laid down some wax paper that is, of course, not sticky. And guys, to measure my papers, to do it the most easy way, is to take a seamstress tape measure. And of course, you can measure the length easily enough to cut. What I like about it so much is that you can get a very accurate measurement by wrapping it around your rolling pin and being able to determine the exact width that you will need for your piece of scrapbook paper in order to cover the rolling pin. Now I am going to be doing this first rolling pin with the red handles with a Christmas pattern. What we will do right here on this wax paper is paint on the Mod Podge very quickly and cover the entire piece of paper on the back side, of course. You may have seen other crafters doing this online in the past, but oh my goodness, it is just a very quick and easy project. So I'm just laying this on here, and of course I'm gonna get it so it is squared away on the rolling pin, and I'm gonna be using these edges to help me get it put and glued down easily enough. Rolling it, and of course we want to have no bubbles or as few as possible in our paper, and we want to come around to this side. Whoopsie, and you can see I've overlapped here a bit, and so I do want to tug it down just a tiny bit and roll it and then smooth down the seam right here. And then I'm going to actually take more Mod Podge, especially if this is your first time watching somebody do this kind of craft. You just cover the outside or the good side, I guess I could say, of your decorator paper. I'm covering my seam quite well because I do not want that seam, you know, to come up. Sorry about this awful lighting, but this first coat that I placed on 2 of my rolling pins turned out to be way too bright for a vintage color. So what I've done is mixed up a little darker of a green shade by adding some brown. So here you can see my original color, and here is the new version. This second coat was much closer to the vintage look I was going for, and so when it dried I just loved the effect. And here you can see the before of all of my wooden pieces and the after with the aged wood and sort of antique look. I just think they turned out beautifully. And then I wanted to share with you this nice vignette that I put together because, guys, it's really wonderful when you can use your thrifted pieces all year round, even at Christmas time, like I said. So here we have a Christmas scene, and later I will be using them in other ways in my decor. For the spring, the summer, the fall, they go with every season, I think. And guys, I also wanted to thank you for stopping by Flipping Friday this month. And I sure am happy that you're part of my YouTube channel, and I just want to wish you all the merriest of Christmases. May you be blessed, you, your family, and your friends during these kind of hard times we are experiencing. I'm thinking of you all as Christmas draws near. This is Mary saying bye for now.